This white supremacy and racism is running rampant all over the globe, and it's really destroying this country and the world at large. You know, we've had enough of rap music and R&B music that just speaks about destructive behavior. Only white people gave the world high forms of thinking. The lie has to end.
Greetings to my freedom fighters all over this country and all over the world. Right now, my primary concern is with people over here in the United States of America, as I am a citizen of these here United States of America. So I would like to give a good greeting to anyone that is out there, regardless of the color of your skin or your race. If you are out there fighting for freedom, justice, and equality, I give you this good greeting. It is more important during this time than in any other recent time in history that we stand up for our rights to determine the future of our health and the health of our family members in the face of ridiculous mandates that are attempting to coerce you and indirectly force you into participating in this science experiment, to participating in being vaccinated with what is still an experimental procedure. Still, regardless of what the pending status is, as far as it being totally approved by the FDA, that makes no difference. As I said in a previous address to you, the only approval that should matter is yours, not the FDA's approval, which we know the FDA is a compromised, and some say even a corrupted institution that has been compromised and corrupted by the pharmaceutical industry and others. So it doesn't matter what they approve or don't approve. The only approval that you should be concerned with is your own. I say this to say that we are in an incredibly pressing situation. We're being pressed by the president of these here United States of America, none other than the senile, incompetent Joe Biden, who has been called Jim Crow Joe Biden based on his history of being so racially antagonistic toward blacks. This history that a lot of you black people want to overlook and not mention because you voted for him. But now this man is showing you just what he thinks of you. Now he's making the 70 to 75% of blacks that do not want to be vaccinated, he's turning you into the villain of society. About 50 to 55% of Latinos and Latinas also do not want to be vaccinated. So you are also his villains in society. What this man is doing is ignoring the fact that there are increasing numbers of fully vaccinated people in this country and the world that are getting just as sick and dying or getting even sicker than those who are not vaccinated. Okay? There is a growing percentage of those types in our society. This is a fact. This has been stated by several news entities. Several researchers and scientists have come to these conclusions that people that have been fully vaccinated are also getting sick at an alarming rate. Fully vaccinated. What has also been revealed is that those of us that have not been vaccinated And those of us that have not been vaccinated but have also contracted the actual coronavirus, that the natural immunity that is acquired is far better than vaccine immunity. There are several studies and reports that say this. So, having said that, I find it incredibly strange and curious that this incompetent president, that every time you see him, he looks like he's some sort of lost deer in the headlights. He speaks with slurred speech. He looks like he's confused. And this is the man that you voted into office. The man that is attempting to force you, the millions of you that have not contracted coronavirus this whole time, the large number of you that may have contracted it, but now have natural immunity to it, he is attempting to strong arm you and force you into being vaccinated by threatening you with your employment. This should be, this should have you people up in arms and raising hell all over this country. That this man is more concerned with you being vaccinated, and that businesses all over the country are more concerned with you getting a needle in your arm than they are concerned with you testing negative. Some places are putting more of a premium on you getting vaccinated than they are you showing them proof that you do not have any COVID, a negative test. I've said this to people out in my travels. What is more impressive? What is more desirable? You presenting a vaccination card that proves nothing. All it proves is that you got a needle in your arm. It doesn't prove that you can't catch the virus. It doesn't prove that you can't pass the virus. It doesn't prove that you won't die if you do catch the virus. Although their propaganda and their information and their numbers say that in an overwhelming way, those that have been vaccinated don't need to worry about getting seriously ill or dying from the coronavirus. But they give you the people that are responsible for giving you these numbers are representing the pharmaceutical industry itself. Because the pharmaceutical industry and Anthony Fauci and the NIH, they give money all over the place to various different doctors, research centers, medical colleges. They fund these studies and these different medical areas. They fund them to do this research, but these people are connected to the pharmaceutical industry themselves. So what type of information are they going to come out with once the research and the studies are done? If they're being funded by actual entities that are participating in mass vaccination campaigns themselves. Can we trust that we're getting totally unbiased information when we hear these numbers that they spout off to us? I mean, these people are the same people that are currently responsible for administering the vaccine all over the place. They're responsible for doing research to produce more vaccines. Are they going to tell you that their product is potentially damaging? Or are they going to spread the greatest, most favorable stories they can possibly conjure up about how effective their vaccines are? They're making money off of this to the tune of billions of dollars. Are they going to downgrade or disgrace their own product? I think not. Use your head. Use some common sense. But what is more desirable in this whole situation? Someone that tests negative and shows you proof that they don't have any coronavirus by producing a negative test, or like I said, someone that shows you proof of vaccination via vaccination card. Let me reiterate, you being vaccinated does not guarantee that you will not catch the virus, pass the virus, or die from the virus. You have no guarantee. although they say your chances are great. But millions of other people throughout this country were never impacted by any coronavirus. They never got sick. If they did get sick, they got better after a couple of days. Okay, just like the World Health Organization and the CDC used to tell the truth about when they said most people do not die from coronavirus, and there is a large percentage of people that are asymptomatic and don't even know that they have it, so they experience no sickness. Then there's another category of people that only have a mild illness or a moderate illness, meaning it's just like it was when they had a regular old cold that they got better from. This is most of the population. And we know now that the 650,000 or more people that have so-called died from the coronavirus, we know that these people had approximately 4 other serious conditions going on at the same time. For example, they had severe diabetes, severe high blood pressure, cancer, heart disease, kidney disease, some sort of lung disease, all at the same goddamn time. But they told us that it was the coronavirus that killed them. Well, these people were in a seriously compromised immune position from the start. From the start. But most of the population of the United States of America don't have all 4 of those things going on at the same time. Facts. That's a fact. I guess this is why most of the population never suffered from coronavirus or COVID-19. The way it seems like the powers that be want us all to. It seems like they hope we all catch this disease, so we could run toward their vaccine and beg them to inject us with it. This is what it seems like. Now, I need to say this. This video is going to be found at blackafricana.com, along with many more informational videos regarding COVID-19 and the vaccine and all of the social and political ramifications of this whole situation. Much more information is going to be located on blackafricana.com. And this video will also be on BitChute. Okay? BitChute is another video hosting platform like the fraudulent YouTube platform that you see some of our videos on as well. I say fraudulent because YouTube is in the business of censoring and destroying anyone that attempts to show the full spectrum of information to make sure the American people and the people of the world have all of the information when it comes to this entire COVID-19 situation. YouTube does not want you to know all of the information. They've proven that by deleting people's channels, removing their videos, disabling their comments, not registering video count and thumbs up. They're involved in all types of sabotage when it comes to people that want to tell the whole story, the full story of exactly what's going on with this plan. They don't want you to know that these people put a plan together and did a simulation about this entire thing months before it all broke out. That people like Bill Gates and the World Economic Forum and others put together a simulation of the entire world being plagued by the coronavirus. And they put this all together months before the actual so-called real pandemic broke out. They put a simulation together. They don't want you to know that. But that information is located on blackafricana.com. They want you to believe that it's just, all this is just a coincidence. So I'm asking you people, Are you going to let this incompetent and senile president strong arm you and twist your arm, force you into being vaccinated, or are you going to rise up and say hell no and shut all of these institutions down by walking out? It seems as though these people are pushing you in that direction. You who have no reason to go get vaccinated at all because you never got sick, no one in your family got sick, so why would you risk a vaccine causing you to be sick or creating a serious negative adverse reaction that may include death, as evidenced by the CDC's information itself, because on their website, over 7,400 people have already died after vaccination. Okay, and thousands more have been injured in one way or another. Thousands more than just 7,400 or so. More than that have gotten injured after being vaccinated, which they have stopped keeping tabs on. Like the CDC has also stopped keeping tabs on the number of people that have attained this breakthrough infection of COVID after vaccination. They don't even want to track those numbers anymore because there's just too many. It's too many of you. And if you knew the real numbers, then you would really be up in arms. Because there are entities that have investigated the way vaccine adverse reactions are reported. Institutions like, or organizations like the Harvard Pilgrim Institute, which is associated with Harvard Medical School, when they researched this, they found that less than 1% of these adverse events ever get reported. So when you see that 7,400 number of people, that reflects the so-called deaths after vaccination, you're looking at a number that is grossly underreported. This is what the Harvard Pilgrim Institute has stated in their research. You can look that up as well, but it's on blackafricana.com. Just like all of the rest of the information associated with this is also on blackafricana.com. Okay, so if you're a person that was never impacted by COVID-19 and you don't even know anybody, you don't have any relatives or friends that were severely impacted. When I say severely, I mean they were close to death or they had to be hospitalized. If you contracted COVID and you were able to stay at home and treat yourself the same way you treated yourself when you were sick previously with any other virus, then that means it wasn't a serious situation for you. You got past it. If you're one of these people that now have natural antibodies and natural immunity, why are they trying to force you and coerce you into getting a vaccine when you obviously don't need it because you have the natural immunity now? So they want you to take a test every week. If I were you, I would only take a saliva test, which they have now. Because why did they need to stick a swab all the way down toward the back of your nasal cavity if they're telling you have to put a mask on because the virus is in your mouth and in your breath and in your droplets that come out of your mouth? Then you should be able to detect whether I have this virus with a spit test. You should not need to stick anything way up in my nasal cavity. This is ridiculous. So if I were you, I would only subject myself to a spit test, a saliva test. And we got to be suspicious of who's producing these tests, because if the tests are produced by pharmaceutical companies, I don't think you can trust the test, because the test could be rigged to bring back a positive result in a large portion of the cases, because it doesn't go in the pharmaceutical company's favor to produce tests to produce honest tests that would bring back negative results. I'm saying that we need a testing manufacturer that is not connected with the pharmaceutical industry. This is the only way that you can trust that these tests are going to come back and bring you back a true, honest result. Because it actually goes in the favor of pharmaceutical companies if most people test positive coronavirus, because then they can make a case that the whole damn planet needs to be vaccinated. But even then, it doesn't even make that case, because testing positive does not mean that you're sick. Does not mean that you're sick. Because let me tell you what I heard Anthony Fauci say when people questioned him about people testing positive for coronavirus after they were fully vaccinated. He said, okay, that's not really an issue. That's not really a problem, because even though those people test positive, their viral load would be so low that you wouldn't have to worry about those people passing the virus. I heard him say that out of his mouth in an interview. So if that's the case for fully vaccinated people, which we know that's really not the case now, even though Fauci said it was the case many months ago, that we didn't have to worry about these fully vaccinated people if they still tested positive for coronavirus, because more than likely they would not be able to transmit the virus, because their viral load would be so low that you wouldn't have to worry about that. But now we know that that was wrong. Now we know that Anthony Fauci has been wrong several times. Now we know that Anthony Fauci, his whole position and his whole way in which he decided to go about informing us was highly flawed in the first place. And now we know that this man was also involved in funding the research that made this virus more damaging and more deadly and more transmissible to humans. He is currently being investigated for this. Many of you don't know this because many of you just watch TV and listen to the radio and don't do any independent study of your own. So you do not know that this Anthony Fauci character is being investigated and being looked at for possibly participating in creating this whole pandemic in the first place, through him financing, which means giving money, to continue the gain of function research that he keeps denying. But he has been quoted, and it is on record that he did support gain of function research, and he thought that it was very important. All of this can be looked up. It's all over the news now. What this man what this man potentially did, and what this man did when it comes to this type of research that made the coronavirus much more damaging and deadly. This gain of function research that he keeps trying to disassociate himself from. But his hands and his fingertips are all over it. And this is what the big hubbub, if you will, this is what the big controversy is surrounding Anthony Fauci, is exactly what this man did when it comes to financing the Wuhan Institute of Virology, or the Wuhan Institute in general, what his role was in funding all of this research. Okay? But we're supposed to listen to this man. You got clowns like Al Sharpton that gave this man the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Award. What the hell has this man ever done to deserve that? Al Sharpton, you are a disgrace. You disgust me. So what kind of sense does it make for the president of these here United States of America to attempt to force you, under the threat of you losing your job and your livelihood, to be vaccinated, okay, when you can still pass this virus, you can still catch this virus? When most of the country don't have any problem from this virus. Do you realize that there is close to 300 million people in this country? Around 300 million or so, approximately. 150 million white people. About, they say there's only 50 million blacks or so, but there's more than that. And Hispanics, their numbers are supposedly even more than our numbers are. So if that's true, then there's at least approximately 60 million or 70 million or so Latinos and Latinas and Hispanic people here. So you got almost 300 million people in the United States of America, and they told you 650,000 died. And those people, remember, they had all kinds of other health problems in the first damn place, unfortunately. Serious ones all going on at the same time. And there are those that they say that just died from coronavirus, but that was only 6%. A very small number. 6% out of the 650,000. A small percentage. 4 to 6% supposedly only had the coronavirus and they died. Yet they want to vaccinate the whole damn planet with this vaccine. This is why so many people are wondering why. This is why so many people are wondering if it has something to do with them attempting to control the population with some sort of substance that's inside the vaccine that inhibits the production of new life. Okay, let me hit you with this. It is not a conspiracy that a certain amount of the particles from the vaccine do accumulate in the ovaries of women. A certain amount of the particles from the vaccine do accumulate in the ovaries of women. And I'll show you the sources for this. But there are other news entities and articles and sources that reported that thousands of women all over the world, including here in the United States of America, said that their menstrual cycles were thrown off greatly. They experienced unexpected vaginal bleeding. They didn't get their periods for months at a time. When they did get their periods, they experienced heavy bleeding. And this caused these women to have serious anxiety and be concerned about their menstruation and their abilities to have babies in the future. As well it should, because this is an abnormal happening that should not be taking place. And this only happened after these women were vaccinated. These are factual stories, okay? And on my BitChute channel, I show you video sources and news articles from these stories about women and their menstruation. And then you'll see articles that talk about the accumulation of the particles from this vaccine that accumulate in various organs, okay, including the liver and the ovaries. And all logical, reasonable scientists are saying is that we need to do much more studies in these areas to make sure that these particles are not damaging the human body. And they're saying we have not done enough testing and studies on these things to be absolutely sure of this. That's all they're saying. But the pharmaceutical industry and the powers that be in the government, like the NIH, Anthony Fauci and his minions, are saying, don't worry about any of that. Just get shot. Just take this injection in your arm and trust us. Trust us. Well, why in the hell should we trust you? This is the question. When we've been doing fine this whole time by taking care of our own health and doing what we need to do to keep ourselves healthy and our families healthy. This is what a large percentage of the United States of America has already done. You see, people like Anthony Fauci and the pharmaceutical industry, they're on a power trip. Yeah, there may be many medications that have saved people's lives and done great good throughout the history of man. But there are also many medications and many medical interventions, including vaccines, that have done great harm as well. But these people don't want us to consider that. We should only consider all the good that they've done. Who do these people think? They think you're stupid. They think you're stupid. And who do they think they are? Who do they think they are? Okay? Your health and your well-being should be left totally up to you. And you should not be forced into any type of medical procedure, experimental or otherwise, under the threat of you losing your livelihood. This is disgustingly ridiculous, especially when you don't have coronavirus. So getting back to my original point, even if you did test positive, because apparently you can still test positive and not be sick, you can be asymptomatic, be showing no symptoms. So even if your weekly test showed that you have that it was positive and you have some sort of coronavirus infection, that could mean it's just detecting a small amount. Like Anthony Fauci said about the vaccine. Okay, if we don't have to worry about people testing positive that got vaccinated, because they should be tested too. If you got to get tested, then those people that got vaccinated should also be tested. And if they test positive, then what? Then what? Because if you test positive as an unvaccinated person, but you're not sick, you should be given the same latitude and given the same leeway as a vaccinated person should, because you're in the same boat. If the vaccinated person tests positive, which they won't be testing them, and they should test them because they could be positive, which a lot of them are positive, what does that mean for you as an unvaccinated person if you're sitting next to their vaccinated ass and they come down with COVID-19? Now they're endangering you, when you were no danger to them because you didn't get vaccinated and you didn't have it, but now their vaccinated asses do have it, and now they're putting you in danger. This is common sense. These people do not want you to use your common sense in this situation. So when they take this video down, you can find it on our website. The links to our website will be in the description. When they take this video down, you can find it on BitChute and go watch it there. Okay? It'll be on our website. So if a vaccinated person comes down with the coronavirus, like many of them have, why are they not required to take a weekly test just like you as an unvaccinated person? Because if you test positive and you're not sick, are you really sick? Can you really transmit the virus? Because Anthony Fauci said your viral load is likely to be so low that you would not transmit it or pass it on to anyone else. This is what he said about vaccinated people. What about the unvaccinated people that test positive through this test, but they're not sick and they're showing no symptoms? Their viral load would also be low, because it would mean that they are not displaying symptoms and they don't have a fever and they're not coughing, they're not sick. So are you going to give them the same latitude and leeway and give them a pass? Or are you going to attempt to discriminate and oppress them and just let your vaccinated folk go scot-free? This is what you're trying to do, and this is what it seems to me that you will do when you're in the same boat as any fully vaccinated person. In many cases, you're better off because the vaccinated person has allowed themselves to be injected with a vaccine that causes the cells of their body to produce the spike protein, which causes coronavirus. This is why many of you get sick and have virus-like symptoms after you get vaccinated, because you allowed yourself to be injected with something that produces the spike protein that causes the actual coronavirus. This is a fact. But because I say it, because I am repeating what doctors and researchers have said, I am not allowed to say it to you. I am not allowed to quote what the research is, because they don't want a black person doing it, number one. And they don't want a person that's not inside their medical loop to read their information, not interpret their information. They don't even like you to read it directly off of the CDC's website, which I have done multiple times, and they have labeled my videos as misinformation when I read directly off of the CDC's website. When I've made nothing up, I've read directly from scientific articles and reports. But if you read something that shows something that is negative or potentially harmful to people once they've been vaccinated, you are deemed a conspiracy theorist, and you are deemed to be spreading misinformation when you have done no such thing. So if I come to the workplace COVID free, and I'm around a whole lot of people that got vaccinated, that caused their bodies to produce the spike protein, who's the one that's spreading the pandemic then? Is it me, who was COVID free, or is it the person that just got injected with the spike protein that produces the virus? Who's the problem here? Is it a pandemic of the unvaccinated, or is it a pandemic of the vaccinated? These people are flipping the script, and they know it, and you know it. Because many of you got sick after you got vaccinated, and you were never sick before. Thousands of you died after vaccination, and you were fine before. Even many more thousands have been injured after the vaccine. And you weren't in that state before you got vaccinated. So what's going on here? What's going on here? I'm speaking for all of the people that were COVID free. I'm speaking for all of the people that contracted COVID but got over it in a matter of days. I'm speaking for all of the people that supposedly had COVID but were asymptomatic, showed no symptoms. I'm speaking for all of these people that the industry and the government is trying to suppress and shut down and destroy. I'm speaking for all of you people now, because most of you are sitting at home keeping your mouths shut like cowards. You're not speaking out about this. You're keeping your mouths shut like cowards, and you're allowing yourselves to be bullied at your job and everywhere else in society. This is what you're doing. This video can be found at blackafricana.com, along with other informative videos about COVID-19 and a plethora of other subjects that plague our society here in America and the world. This video will also be found at BitChute.com. The name of the BitChute channel is M. Don Black Today. M. Don Black Today. All of the links to to the website and to the areas where the video can be found will be put in the description. So, is it time for all of us to rise up and shut this country down in massive protests all over the streets of this nation? Because these people are abusing their power. These people are abusing their power. And the situation has gone to critical mass. These people are abusing their power. And when these people in our government, and when these billionaires, multi-billionaires that run business and industry attempt to control us, attempt to control every facet of our lives, it's time to stand up and at least say no. At least if you're not going to do anything else, you should at least say, hell no, I will not subject myself to this. Because where does it end? Where does it end? How many more times are you going to allow them to ignore your situation and your story in favor of what they want to do? Because if you ignore it now, the next 5 or 6 mandates down the road will be even more suppressive and discriminatory and oppressive than this one, if you allow this to fly. Having said that, let's take a look at some sources of information, some websites here. All right, what we're going to do is take a look at some of this information from the CDC's website, because I don't want anybody saying that I'm spreading false information. So let's take a look at exactly what the CDC says about deaths, about swelling up of the heart, and all manner of negative, serious side effects that have taken place after people have been vaccinated with this new mRNA COVID vaccine. Let's take a look at what they want to downplay. Scroll down. Keep scrolling down, please. Scroll down more. Keep going. Okay, let's take a look at this area here. The myocarditis and pericarditis. We know that myocarditis is the swelling of the absolute and total heart, your whole heart swelling. Pericarditis is the swelling up of the outer lining of the heart muscle. After COVID-19 vaccinations are rare. As of September 1, 2021, VAERS, V-A-E-R-S, which is the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, they have received 1,404 reports of myocarditis or pericarditis among people ages 30 and younger who received the COVID-19 vaccine. Okay? Most of the cases have been reported after the mRNA COVID-19 vaccination, vaccination coming from Pfizer, BioNTech, or Moderna, Anthony Fauci's partnered company that he works with to produce the NIH's, or National Institutes of Allergies and Infectious Diseases, their vaccine. Okay, Moderna, okay, 2. Okay, particularly in male adolescents and young adults. Now, let's take a look at the reports of death after vaccination. This is another category. Okay, it says more than 375 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines were administered in the United States from December 14th, 2020 through September 7th, 2021. During this time, once again, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System received 7,439 reports of death among people who received a COVID-19 vaccine. Okay? The FDA requires healthcare providers to report any death after COVID-19 vaccination to VAERS, even if it's unclear whether the vaccine was the cause. Reports of adverse events to VAERS following vaccination, including deaths, do not necessarily mean that a vaccine caused a health problem. Once again, keep in mind, these people didn't die. They didn't report any of these health problems until after they were vaccinated. Okay? They want you to pay attention to this statement of reports of adverse events to the VAERS. Reports of adverse events to VAERS following vaccination, including deaths, do not necessarily mean that a vaccine caused a health problem. And it certainly doesn't mean that the vaccine did not cause it. It certainly doesn't mean that at all. A review of available clinical information, including death certificates, autopsy, and medical records, has not established a causal link to COVID-19 vaccines. However, recent reports indicate a plausible causal relationship between the J&J Janssen COVID-19 vaccine and blood clots, okay, which has caused deaths. Keep in mind that this number, this 7,439 deaths that were reported after COVID vaccination, that number, that's just what they decided to report. What about all of the other cases, all of the other people that don't even know how to report their vaccine injury to the VAERS system? Because it's not easy. You have to have a certain level of computer savvy, okay? You have to be able to dig and find the area. You have to be able to find VAERS and dig into the area of VAERS to actually report this. And how many people's doctors are telling them, I know your family member died, and I know you had your heart swell up, or you got a blood clot, but it probably wasn't because of the vaccine. And how many people are believing them? All of those cases never get reported to VAERS. Never get reported. These are the ones they just decided to tell you about. The over 7,000 people. The Harvard Pilgrim Institute did a study on how vaccine injuries and deaths are underreported. This is the same Harvard that is associated with Harvard Medical School. The Harvard Pilgrim Health Institute. They researched this, and they said in their report that less than 1% of vaccine deaths and injuries ever get reported. And once again, how many people are being dissuaded and discouraged from reporting their injury so as to not paint this vaccine in a negative light? How many? How many people are being bullied and told not to say anything about their relative's death, even though they suspect the vaccine may have had something to do with it? I hear stories like that all the time. All the time. Because there is much more than meets the eye with regard to this vaccine and with regard to COVID-19 in general. Let's go to another source. This is speaking to women and all of their concerns about their ability to bear children possibly being damaged and their overall female health being damaged in some sort of way after being vaccinated because of symptoms that have already been displayed in many women all over the world with unexpected vaginal bleeding, their periods not coming on for months at a time, or their periods coming on with a seriously heavy flow. All of that was reported by women, and they don't want me to talk about it. They don't want those women to talk about it. They want to sweep it under the rug. Here's another so-called scientific blog that attempts to minimize women's health, because there was a report that came out on Trial Site News that this article was attempting to debunk and call inaccurate. This article was put forth by a Steve Kirsch on Trial Site News. The ovaries get the highest concentration of lipid nanoparticles from RNA vaccines. This turns the ovaries into a very large manufacturing plant to turn out toxic spike protein. This so-called scientific blog has determined this to be inaccurate. Okay, they said this is not true. Okay, the largest concentration does not wind up in the ovaries, but does any of the lipid nanoparticle wind up in the ovaries? Do any of those particles wind up in any other organ of the body? The question is yes. Even this so-called debunking site has to admit to it because it has been researched and it has been found to be true that certain amounts of the lipid nanoparticle from the vaccine do indeed accumulate in certain organs of the body. the liver being one of them, and the ovaries also being amongst the areas in the female body that the lipid nanoparticle does accumulate. The question was, does the highest concentration wind up in the ovaries? This blog site has determined that to be false, although some of those particles do wind up there. Okay? All right. Let's read this here. In the latest iteration of this claim, the trial site news article and others presented information from official documents submitted by Pfizer to Japan's regulator of pharmaceuticals and medical devices. And they did a study in Japan, okay? And in that study, they found that some of those particles do wind up in female ovaries, okay? Now, this article from Trial Site News also includes information that they say was previously debunked by Geert Vandenbosch, who is a specialist in the area of vaccines and immunology and virology. The Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System, they say that their own system has been debunked. The Cleveland study by Shrisha et al., comparison to the flu vaccine in the Cleveland study, and miscarriages in pregnant women. All of these was a concern for several scientists in this field, in this area. But then you have a whole other group of scientists that are making it a point to debunk any negativity, to debunk any information that could make the vaccine look bad in any way at all. A brand new technology, a brand new vaccine, when typically vaccines take approximately 10 years of research and development and testing before they are labeled as being safe. This one had none of that. But all of these so-called scientists are coming out in defense of the vaccine, saying there is absolutely no danger associated with it in any way. This should be very troubling to you. This is incredibly suspicious at best. But let's read further. Okay. The article's interpretation of the biodistribution data is inaccurate, says this article, as Abraham Al-Ahmad, an associate professor in pharmacology at Texas Tech University, pointed out in a blog post. The data showed that the injection site had the greatest accumulation of lipid nanoparticles. The place where they stick you in your arm, this scientists or researchers said from Texas Tech that that's where the largest concentration of these particles from the vaccine winds up, in your arm, followed by your liver. In your liver, approximately 18.1% of these particles wind up in your liver 8 hours after you get the shot. Now let me ask you a question, people. Do these particles belong in your liver? Is this the best case scenario for your body when naturally foreign particles, lipid nanoparticles, and any other particles normally would not be in your liver? And what does this potentially do to the functioning of your liver when you're going to keep getting this shot every goddamn year? 3 shots. 1 shot, your initial shot, and then 2 other booster shots with all of these fucking particles accumulating in different organs of your body. Have they studied this long enough to know that this does not harm your body in the long run? Have they studied this for 10 years? What do you think? Now, that's your liver. Now let's see how, if any of these particles wind up in the ovaries. This is talking about the ovaries now. The peak concentration in the ovaries occurring at 48 hours, 2 days after you get injected with the vaccine, was just 0.095% of the administered dose. Was just 0.095%. That means that some of these lipid nanoparticles do definitely accumulate inside female ovaries. I don't care how minuscule it is or how small it is. Some things are so dangerous that you only need a small amount. And we're talking about how they want you to get this injection possibly every 6 months. They want you to get 3 of them because they want you to get 3 of them initially for the first 6-month period, and then possibly they want you to get at least 3 injections. Your initial injection, then your the second half, which supposedly completes your full dose of vaccination, and then they want you to get a 3rd booster shot. They may want you to do this twice a year. That'll be 6 injections. I'm not sure. These people are insane. For a virus that does not affect millions of people, which is most people in this country and the rest of the world, in a seriously negative way. For most people, it is non-existent. They are asymptomatic, or they have mild symptoms, or they have moderate symptoms, and they get better within a few days. This is what happens for most white people, for most black people, for most Asians, most Latinos and Latinas, and most Native Americans. Most people are not being wiped out by this. But if you listen to the mainstream media and you listen to this wacky ass president of these United States, you would think that the whole damn world was dying. You would think that everybody in America was dying, when we have over 300 million people in this country, and most of them are getting along just fucking fine. That's a fact. 650,000 have died. And that number is a very questionable number when you take into consideration that most of and it may be more than 650,000 now. It may be approaching 700,000. But they just add any and every death into it now, regardless of whether or not COVID-19 was the main cause or not. If you go in there and you go in there for an asthma attack, and you die from your asthma attack or your heart attack, and they test your blood and they find out that you had a coronavirus infection, no matter how small or insignificant it is, the infection that is, they label you as a COVID death. This is how they get the numbers to be damn near 1,650,000 to 700,000. That's how they get all those numbers like that. And there were studies that were shown that you had kids, because now they want to say all of these kids are going to the hospital, but they don't tell you that you need to dig closely into that, what exactly is going on. Some of the kids are going to the hospital for stomach aches, asthma attacks, eating the wrong thing, eating too much of something, broken legs, and all other things that don't have anything to do with a serious coronavirus infection. But as soon as you go to the hospital, the first thing they do is test you for corona. So if you cross the threshold that they deem to be acceptable to call you a corona case, and you just happen to be in the hospital, you get added to the numbers of hospital admittance, people admitted to the hospital for coronavirus when that's not what you were there for. A study was done on that showed this is happening 40% of the time. 40% is approaching 50%, which means that's approaching half of the people that you hear about are not really in the hospital because of coronavirus, but they're being labeled as such. This is not, and I suspected this, and many others have suspected things like this. I've talked to people, and they've told me about their personal experience, how they went to the hospital for back problems. When they got there, the doctor was concentrating on the fact that they tested positive for coronavirus, and those people said, yeah, but I'm not sick. I don't feel like I have any infection. I don't have a fever. I don't have any problems with breathing or anything else. So treat me for my back. But they weren't treating them for that. I mean, this whole situation is convoluted and incredibly suspect and suspicious. Now, I'm not saying that there are no legitimate cases of it. I never said that. I'm saying they are blowing up the cases and convoluting the cases and adding all different types of other circumstances into the fray to boost the numbers. And they have been busted and investigated to show that that's exactly what they're doing. Because once again, how many of you, when you go out your front door, you see the same grouping of people, you see the same people, you see the same children, you see the same neighbors, and you talk to your family members, and none of your family members are hospitalized. None of your family members have died. You've been fine. Your immediate family has been fine this whole time. All of those doctors and nurses that took care of people throughout this whole pandemic with no vaccine, they never caught it. They never got sick. But now you want to force all of those doctors and nurses that sacrificed and put their health at risk. Now you want them to put their health at risk again by forcing them to be vaccinated when they soldiered through this whole time just fine with no goddamn vaccine. What kind of shit is that? It should be incredibly alarming to you. You should be up in arms about this. This is unacceptable behavior by our president, our government, by this corrupt-ass pharmaceutical industry. And don't get me wrong. I've taken medication. I take medication. I'm not saying that the whole thing is bad. I'm not saying that the whole industry is corrupt and unnecessary. I'm saying that major parts of it are indeed corrupt. And major parts of it are seeking to control the population in nefarious, sneaky, diabolical ways. Large parts of that industry are definitely corrupt. They want you to think that it's not. They don't want you to take a look at the full story. They don't want you to take a look at any information that makes the pharmaceutical industry, the FDA, the CDC. They don't want you to take a look at any information that shows that they could quite possibly be corrupt institutions and in need of a revamp. They don't want you to consider any of that. This should concern you greatly. Now, having shown you this and having said this, it is incredibly important that you understand that these people, YouTube and maybe even Facebook, will take down this video. You need to go to blackafricana.com where you can view this video. You can refer this video to your friends and family. Okay. You can go to bitshoot.com. It'll be on BitChute, and I will put the links to our website and the links to our BitChute account where you can also view this video once YouTube or even Facebook decides to take it down. You can still view it. Don't let them stop the information train from running. Our freedoms and our health, our very survival is at stake here, people. And most of the stories that I've seen and read about of this vaccine harming and injuring people have been white people. But we know good and goddamn well, if it has harmed them, it damn sure has harmed us. We are always the main target of white supremacy. But as I said before, white supremacy also destroys white people. So all of you white people with sense in your head, all of you white people that care about full disclosure of information, regardless of how negative it may be, all of you white people that are concerned about freedom, justice, and equality in our society and throughout the world, you need to stand up and fight for your freedom to choose what's best for your health, and your freedom to live in this country comfortably. Because all of that is at stake here. All of that is at stake here. Okay? So don't think you as a white person are safe from this, because you are not. If you think rationally and logically and you like to do research and you want to be able to move freely and make decisions for you and your family, unencumbered decisions, but unencumbered by government or other entities, then you should be very concerned about what's going on right now. You need to stand beside those other blacks and Hispanics that are fighting for their rights to choose what's best for their own health. All of these people do not, and these are people that are COVID free. Or these are people that have already beat the virus naturally, and now they're naturally immune. These types of people are being discriminated against, harassed, and oppressed. So I'm going to need all of my so-called non-racist, smart white people to jump on board with this, because like I said before, I've put videos together that featured nothing but white people dying and being injured after the COVID vaccine. Okay? Now, I want to make this clear also. If you want to be vaccinated, that's fine. You are not my enemy. Even though it may sound like I'm being aggressive toward those that have been vaccinated, the only reason why I'm doing that is because many vaccinated people have been extremely aggressive toward COVID-free, non-vaccinated people. You people have been extremely aggressive and confrontational against people that have maintained their health and been COVID-free this whole goddamn time. People that have strong immune systems and may have innate immunity toward even being infected by this virus in the first place. Not speaking of the immunity that you acquire if you get through a natural infection from COVID. Not talking about that kind of immunity. There is another kind of innate immunity in T cells and memory B cells where you don't even get infected. So it's not about you getting infected then acquiring immunity. There's another type of immunity where the virus can't even infect you in the first place. That's another phase of natural immunity, another part of it. Some people have that as well. You can look that up. Okay? Memory cells, memory T cells, memory B cells. All of these things play into natural immunity being far better and more comprehensive than any vaccine, which many studies have now shown. Many of them. And you need to keep in your heart and in your mind that you may need to stand up and fight for what is right here. Okay? You can't always cave into what the government, big business, and industry, billionaires and millionaires want you to do. The foolish ass entertainment industry and all of these foolish ass entertainments going around promoting some shit that they have not really fully researched. They do not know the full depth and breadth and scope for the thing that they are championing and promoting, aka vaccines. They have not done the research, and many of you have not. Many of you have never even gone to this page. You don't even know that this page even exists, most of you. And you want to call other people that have been digging into this whole thing for over a year and a half now. You want to call people like us conspiracy theorists when all you do is watch TV. You disgust me, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Do some real research first before you accuse somebody.
All right, so this is what I wanted to speak to you about, how we're up against agents of information suppression and people who own website hosts, people who own website companies rather, people who own video hosting platforms such as YouTube and Facebook. What we have here is our website that I pay for. The name of the website is blackafricana.com, and this is the free content page. So I need everyone to understand that YouTube is an agent of information suppression, and dumbing down of the people. But there are other entities like website companies that you would go to host your website. You pay these companies a monthly fee or a yearly fee, however the payment structure is, and they are supposed to put your website up and host your website in a way that you have designed it to be shown. Now, you have agents that would like to control the masses of people, control what they do with their own individual health, control the health of their family and their friends and their entire communities, and simply keep these people in an ignorant state about all of the aspects and all of the things that they can use at their own disposal to keep themselves healthy and COVID free. So what they do is it looks to me as if certain companies are in contact with each other and they speak to each other about certain people they feel to be a threat to the system or the establishment. For example, this is our website, and we designed this website so that it comes across crisply and cleanly on the screen. But what we noticed is that when we look at this website through the Fire Stick, and even when we look at the website through on a cell phone or on a tablet or on a laptop, it never presents itself in the clearest fashion in the way that we actually design the screen. And this only happens on the free content page, the page that most people would land on to try to sample what we offer on the website. It seems as if Weebly is in communication with these other companies and these other sources of information suppression and dumbing down of the public. And they're in cahoots with these other internet companies and social media companies that want to continue white supremacy. And let me tell you, white supremacy hurts white people as well, okay? You can't think, if you have a logical, rational mind, that you can have a population in this country, the United States of America, of 50 million black people and 60 million Hispanic people. You can't possibly think that you could have those groups of people living in a society that seeks to dominate them and make them second and third class citizens in favor of white citizens being supreme and dominant over them. You would be a total nutcase to think that those groups of people would let that stand. That creates, and it already has created, a situation of total chaos and unpredictability in this country. So if you're a white person with any sense in your head, you should be up in arms about YouTube and Facebook suppressing your right to hear full information about COVID-19, to hear the full political commentary about the goings-on in this nation as far as race relations are concerned. You should be up in arms about them trying to suppress and censor any information that you should be able to take in freely. But this is what's going on. And they even sabotage people's website that they are paying for. And I say this about Weebly, that they are involved in this as well, because when you attempt to contact their customer service division, you never get a response back. And their product is subpar. Why do we continue to use Weebly? Because we did put some time and some work and some effort in creating this website, and we don't want to throw it all away in favor of attempting to use someone else's web hosting services that may also be in cahoots with information suppression and dumbing down of the public in the form of sabotaging people's websites. But I'm making this, let me just go back to the point about how white people, you need to be concerned about this process, because this process hurts you. Like I said, it creates an air of volatility that could lead to violence in the country, already has led to violence in certain situations. It leads to an uneasiness overall it leads to a lack of peace and harmony amongst all American citizens. Whether you want to be friendly or have any relationships with blacks or Hispanics or not, it behooves you to respect those people and just stay over in the corner of the country that you want to be in and just associate with your own kind if that's what you want to do. You have a right to do that. But don't bring your ass over into areas where other people have occupied, where other people are trying to live peacefully and happily with all members of society and humanity. Don't bring your chaotic, racist bullshit over there to contaminate what those people are attempting to do with their lives. Maybe one day you can get your silly ass in line and understand that we are all a member of the human race, which started with the original black mother and father of all humans on the face of the earth in Africa. Your white scientists and archaeologists have uncovered the proof of this. Maybe one day you can get your head out of your ass and get your mentality straight and realize that the best thing that you could possibly do is try to live in peace and harmony with all members of the human race to make the whole goddamn world a better place for us all. Maybe one day your racist white ass will understand this, or your racist Asian ass, or your racist Latino or Hispanic ass, or your racist Native American ass, and last but not least, if you happen to be a black ass racist that thinks all white people are devils or bad, or thinks the black race should rule over other races, which I don't see a whole lot of that going on in the black community. But if you happen to hold those views, you also need to get your head out of your ass, because it's not about black supremacy over anybody else either. So I don't want any white people or any other group of people talking about how I'm a racist and I'm pushing all of this black stuff. You would be a liar if you said so. So now, let's get back to this. I want you to see how to navigate our website on the free content page. You got Black World History, our black people, Hebrew Israelites, Christians or Muslims. Okay? Nobody is above criticism. Okay? If whatever your religion is, whether you're white, black, Latino, Latina, Asian, Hispanic, Native American, nobody's religion is above being criticized and scrutinized. If you're doing the wrong thing within your religion, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Hebrew, Buddhist, whatever. You can be criticized for the things that you are doing wrong, or the crimes that you have committed against humanity, or the crimes that you are currently committing against humanity. You are not above criticism. But I want you to show how Weebly and the Fire Stick through Amazon are showing our website, are presenting it through the Fire Stick display. You may or may not see it like this, but this is how they have presented it to me on our Fire Stick when we view it. You see this big space here? This is not supposed to be a big gaping space. This is supposed to be up against this video box. So when you go from one category to the next, you want to click on the first video box that you see. This is if you're using the Fire Stick or you're viewing it through some sort of streaming device. It may come through jumbled and disjointed like this. You click on the first one that has the circle and the video play icon. This only has one video in it, this Black History area, so there's only one video here. These are comments that are disconnected and disjointed. This is a comment. And there are other comments that you're not able to see because they're not showing the comments to you from people that have left comments on this webpage. This is the music lessons. Again, the first box that you see with the circle and the play icon, this is the box that you should be clicking on. Now, you see here, You see all of these doubled sections and doubled areas. This is garbage. This is how they present. This is how they try to make it look unattractive to people when viewing it through certain devices. Now this section has more than just one video in it. So you don't want to go here because you can't scroll. This is a useless scrolling section. You want to stop at the first one here. You see 2 videos? You want to come down and you stop at the first scroll bar. This one allows you to move back and forth in the section selection so that you can choose the video that you want to see. Bongo lesson, djembe drum lesson, saxophone lesson, guitar lesson. You can scroll through. Right underneath, there's a jumbled mess here that we did not do. We did not put this here, but you can't do anything with this. You can't click on any of this. It just gives you this box, which is nothing. And then it starts flashing on and off. All of this is happening through your viewing the website, possibly through your Fire Stick or other streaming device. When you view the website on a tablet or on a desktop computer or on a phone, it comes through a little bit better and a little more organized. But I'm doing this for you so that you know how to navigate if you're using a Fire Stick or another streaming device. The first video box is the one that works, and the first scroll bar is also the one that works right underneath it. This next thing here is nothing. It's just jumbled nonsense. You can't even click on it. It's always going to be the first video box. This just brings you to an alphabet screen for you to type a comment in if you want to leave a comment. But if you leave a comment, you may not be able to see it through the Fire Stick streaming method or other streaming methods that you may use, like a Google box or a Roku stick. I don't know how it comes through on those streaming devices. But through the Fire Stick, you may have problems like this. But as you can see, you can leave a comment, and you can look at your comments clearly if you look at this free website on your desktop computer, on your cell phone, or on your laptop or your tablet. Once again, this is just jumbled everywhere. It's the subscribe option. All of this was done neatly and cleanly when we first designed the website. Once I started talking about COVID and the vaccine and white supremacy and racism of all kinds, they started messing with our website and showing it like this. This is the boxing and kickboxing and fitness. Once again, the first video box screen this is the one that works. And there is 2 videos here, so you see these 2. You can click on these 2. They also work. This one, which is the same box as you previously saw, does not do anything but bring this alphabet menu up again. And it also has some things in here from the musical downloads and musical demonstration area thrown on the screen for some reason, coming through jumbled. Again, this is nothing. You can't click on this because this is already here. This is the first one. This is where everything works. Right here, this is the first thing, and these are the first 2 things directly underneath. Those 2 videos, you can click on them and they work. This is where you would leave a comment. That's when the video box, the alphabet box, comes in for you to type in your comment. As you can see, this is where you can leave a comment. And once again, you can view your comments if you look at this on your desktop computer, your cell phone, your laptop, or your tablet. You can see everything. And you can see everything sometimes through this device as well. As you can see, someone says, great for all ages. Tyrone Green, I think Tyrone Green said that. Joseph Reese says, keep up the good work. Self-defense is important for our youth. Joseph Reese said that. We also have national social commentary. Once again, the first video box you see underneath the category is the one that works. Now there are multiple videos in this category. So these two work along with others. You scroll down a little bit, you see a white bar, a white line with a scroll bar. You can move the scroll bar and that moves you to other videos within the section. There's more than one video in this section and you can watch them all that way. Once again, this will not work because this is more jumbled nonsense on this screen. Even if I click on it, it does nothing. You know that the real video for that is right there, the first one that you come across. And the same situation goes for this category as well. This is the first video box. It is operational. There is more than 2 videos in this section. All of these videos can be clicked on. This is the scroll bar area for you to scroll to choose what video you want to view. And the same situation goes for live streams. It is the first video box that actually is operational and is functional. And if there's anything directly underneath the first video, there will be that scroll bar that comes, and you can scroll through all the rest of the videos in this category. I just wanted to show you this so that you were aware of how this screen may look to you if you look at it through a Fire Stick or some other streaming device that is attempting to sabotage the way this information is delivered to you. Here we have an entire album full of original songs written and produced by yours truly, M. Don Black, with the help of Miss Christina Kennedy, with the help of her fantastic vocals on each one of these songs. And this just talks about more of the live streams and more of the potential live streams that may be done in the future. You can click on this video here to watch it. A lot of this was done at the beginning of the pandemic. So some of the information may or may not be different, but still that information was relevant at that particular time, and most of it is still relevant today. Actually, all of it is relevant. I don't see anything that we've put on this website that is not still relevant today. And this whole section about Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci and their relationship, vaccines, and what their plans were and what they've done, there's a 6-part series on that, and that is located in the live streams section. And here's the scroll bar for that. You can watch all 6 of those episodes. But I wanted to draw your attention to this because it's important to know what we're up against. You got people trying to sabotage you even if you're paying for a service. You're paying them money. But in order to keep the information suppression train going, in order to keep the government mandates going, in order to keep white supremacy and racism and all types of supremacy coming from any particular group, because they love confusion and chaos and infighting between all ethnic groups, because this is how they get you to ignore what they're doing at the top. Okay? So they will sabotage your product that you're paying for in favor of getting their agendas to work against you, the public, the masses of people all over the world, in this country and all over the world. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. We're also going to take a look at how the website looks through a desktop, because even that way they've also made the screen come through somewhat jumbled, even on a desk. It's nowhere near it like this is. This is just totally, they've really totally done a job, done a number on this, the way this is displayed through the Fire Stick. They've made it appear in a very jumbled fashion, which we had nothing to do with. We put this thing together cleanly, crisply, and clearly. All right, but I'll let you take a look at how our website looks on a desktop next.
All right, what you're looking at is the view from a desktop computer. You see how it's much neater and much more in line with the way it should look. You see the video box, you see the comment section, everything is right underneath. You see the comments that were left here. On the side, you see where you can subscribe. You click on that button and that takes you to the subscription screen. You scroll down to the next category. You see how it's neatly in line. Music lessons, original music downloads. You have your scroll bar for you to scroll through all of the videos in this section. Right beside the video box, you have your subscribe box. You see the comments that were left here. You can leave comments as well. The boxing and kickboxing and fitness category. You see the comments tucked directly underneath the video box, as they should be. Well, now we start to get into an area where they're still misaligning the things on our website. This is actually lower. It's pulled down lower, this whole area, than what it should be. It should reside directly in the middle. It should be raised up a little bit higher. Once again, we see this subscribe button not in the middle section of this video box toward the right hand side. This information is moved down slightly. You see everything else is in line. Your scroll box to scroll through the rest of the videos in this category. This category is National Social Commentary. This is the first video in this category. You see the comments here. Scroll down to a slice of life, and once again you see a video scroll area for you to scroll through the videos in this category. You see the subscribe box. Last category being the live stream area. Okay, this is pretty much in line. This views itself pretty much the way that we want it to, but it's still not exactly how we designed the website to be. Okay, so what we have here is a situation where certain things have been done in certain instances to make our website not look as professional and as presentable as it should in certain situations, in certain areas that you view it from. Like I previously just stated, viewing it through the Fire Stick, this free screen may come through jumbled and you may not be able to see the comments clearly. I already went over that. The best way to view the website is through your desktop, home computer, your laptop, your cell phone, or your tablet. This looks as if it's coming through the correct way now. Previously, this information was not coming through correctly, even loading correctly when I viewed it on the desktop, but it seems to be loading itself for the most part in a professional, easily readable way this time. Again, you see here says a preview of original songs, full songs available to paid subscribers on the original music downloads page, where you get a chance to download this whole album. There are 8 songs on it. 8 songs that are songs that reflect positive living, living the good life, living a wholesome life, living a fun life, living a life of meaning. These are the types of songs that we write and produce and sing. Okay, there's even a rap song on here called Hip Hop Sellouts. It's a great song. You should check it out. Okay, this is what the free page looks like. Okay, this is what our home page looks like. Right up front, beautiful picture that was drawn and colored by my queen, Miss Christina Kennedy. Information on here about what we do, what we represent. And all of this will be updated with some new information. And for people that actually want to subscribe to the website, you have access to the full barrage of Black World History lessons, National Social Commentary, boxing and kickboxing and fitness, music lessons, a slice of life where we do videos from vacation spots that we've taken. Maybe there will be some spots that you're interested in taking your family to. That's located in a slice of life. Original music downloads. Okay, you have to become a subscriber and log in to have access to the full information on these things, because you're only seeing a small part of what we have to offer in the free section. And then there's also Black Africana clothing with these fantastic hoodies and sweatshirts. Black hoodie, red hoodie. That's clean. They look real good. I have a green one. My other family members have the red ones and the black ones. These hoodies look real good on you. And all this is here for you to partake of on blackafricana.com. Here it is. blackafricana.com. It's right there. We hope that you will partake of viewing our website, and we hope that you will become a subscriber in the near future. Well, I just wanted to let you know that. Thank you. Learn about Black world history. Learn how to play the saxophone. Learn how to play the bongos and the djembe. Learn how to play the guitar. Learn how to sing. Learn how to box and kickbox.